Forever Winter. I'm sure many of you have been seeing this game all over YouTube recently. It was released a little over 2 weeks ago, and over that time there's been a sort of back and forth in the community. I, for one, have been counting down the days until I can actually play this game, and man, has it been a ton of fun. A nice, stress-relieving game to play after work.
Our luck will change.
Okay, this game is definitely... So, Forever Winter is being developed by Fundog Studios, which is actually a new team comprised of 30 veteran developers with experience with AAA games. They don't have any previous releases, but I have to be honest, I'm incredibly impressed with the game they've managed to bring us so far. There are people who are criticizing Forever Winter because they didn't understand or didn't like how the game is meant to be played, or because of the technical problems in early access. And just in case, I'll repeat it again. This game is in early access. I'd go as far as to say this game is in early access, but they're constantly pushing out patches fixing problems as they come up. The only reason Forever Winter is even in early access right now is apparently due to the fans of the game demanding the developers release it earlier than they had planned, which was sometime in 2025. Now this has led to the game being in a pretty unpolished and sort of poor state. Now while it has its problems, I want to make it clear that I really like this game, and I've seen people asking is it worth buying with how early access it is, and I personally think it is worth buying, especially if you have a group to play with. Even if the game is in early access and is sort of buggy, it's a great experience, and not to mention you're supporting the developers so they can continue to push out patches and updates. With that out of the way, there are some flaws to the game as of now. Like, most of the time the UI is pretty abysmal, most especially when it comes to picking up items clumped together, and the performance for Forever Winter has also been pretty shaky. Some people say they aren't really having any performance issues, but a lot of people are having them, and I have definitely had quite a bit of performance issues. But it's only usually after I spawn in and the map is loading in. After that, I usually stop having lag spikes and I can get a steady 55 to 60 frames. I mentioned how some people don't understand how Forever Winter is supposed to be played, because the first instinct of most people who play Escape from Tarkov and even FPSs in general is shoot to kill and loot the enemy, right? Wrong. You can't just go off shooting anything or anyone you want. Stealth is key. You are nothing but a weak scat, sneaking around two factions armed with drones, tanks, mechs, and even bigger mechs. Some people are even referring to this game as an anti-shooter. Fighting is pointless. Your priority is to loot up and extract with as much as you can. But there's one resource more important than anything else. If you run out of water, you lose your entire stash, and the innards, or your base of operations, will all be reset. The water mechanic is a little weird right now. If you didn't know, the water mechanic is based on a real world clock, and some people like that and others not so much. I think it's a pretty cool concept, but the execution of the water collection is a little underwhelming. Water can spawn in predetermined areas, so that leads to it being a sort of linear gameplay of looting up predetermined paths and extracting. Not to mention, this leads to water becoming pretty much worthless later on because you can get as much as you want. As long as you have water, you also have vendors which you can buy or sell things like guns, ammo, meds, or even AI teammates, which are pretty useless but cool nonetheless. But you're going to make most of your money off of selling these rare components and items you find off drones, tanks, and things alike. But you can also collect scrap guns, which can go for a pretty decent price. Well, some aren't really worth grabbing unless you're on your way out. You can upgrade the innards, but most of the upgrades are cosmetic, like the dog, or the speakers, or even the TVs. But there are some useful upgrades like the ammo and gun crafting stations, and you can also upgrade your water storage as well. These upgrades can seem expensive at first, but to be honest, money is way too easy to get, especially after you get past the first two available quests, which took me way longer than it should have. Once you complete the first two quests, you're given access to even more quests. This way you can actually choose which quests you want to do, and some of these are locked to certain maps, so it helps keep players from only playing one map over and over again. There are several maps you can choose from in Forever Winter, with several different entry points to choose from as well. The maps currently playable are Scorched Enclave, Elephant Mausoleum, Mech Trenches, which the devs are still working on, but it's currently my favorite. Then you have the Scrapyard Nexus, and finally the Ashen Mesa. And there's a ton of unreleased maps they have planned as well. So the quests aren't terribly hard, but some of them could take you a while to figure out. Like there's one where you have to sabotage the mech in the hangar on the map Mech Trenches. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I had to look up a video on how exactly you sabotage the mech. Apparently you have to interact with the grease under the mech. So yeah, I'm a really big fan of how the quest and the quest rating works. It adds a sense of progression throughout the game, well, outside of growing your stash. The only downside is how easy the quests make it to get water. So beside water usually spawning in the same spots on the map, the quests also give you a ton of water, causing it to lose even more worth. But did you know you could actually choose your character in this game? They all have their own unique skill sets for your different playstyles. I've been using the Shaman. He's pretty balanced and I currently have him at Prestige 3. Yes, you can prestige your characters in this game up to Prestige level 25. Every time you prestige, all your character upgrades reset. That's right, you can unlock really useful upgrades for your characters that reset on Prestige, like upgrading your carrying capacity or SMG handling. And for some reason I usually forget to upgrade these until I'm already ready to prestige again. So the gameplay of Forever Winter is still a little buggy. There's some obvious performance issues, random bugs that ruin runs, and the AI can be pretty janky at times. But outside these problems, I have to say this game feels great. I personally love how the character moves outside of being a little wonky when running sometimes. Looting isn't incredibly diverse in this. You can find med storages, ammo storages, loot storages, and then you also have the bodies all around the battlefield you can loot for ammo, meds, and guns. All of the loot you gather is stored on your rig, and your rig can be upgraded to hold more items. And you also have a slot for holding bigger items like water, explosives, or things like lock boxes or gacha boxes. You can only hold one of these items per slot you have unlocked. Overall, even in this very early access game, there's still so much to the game, and I'm glad to see that even while people are hating on the game for stupid reasons, the game is still getting the recognition it deserves. Anyway, that's about all I've got for today's video. Forever Winter is such a promising game, and I look forward to the full release. I hope you have all enjoyed. If you have, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Also, make sure to use code GOLDEN to get 10% off your order with Rogue Energy. The link is in the description. Anyway, I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.